Welcome to the J.R. Hendrick Texan Gentleman, the podcast that deals with the early life of J.R. Hendrick. This episode is part 2 of Christine's Revolt, continuing beginning November 15th, 1994. "3 a.m. Central. Jackson, Mississippi. In the dead of the night, a team of limousines pull up in front of a mansion, and everyone is sitting downstairs in the mansion theater by the firelight. I called for this special meeting of the EIM, but this one, we need our consultants from the SBA under the Clinton administration to give us some advice now. We could get it from someone from the People's Republic of Colorado, but we have a Texan man. What do you say we do?" Tillman Boggs said. Jim stood up from his chair. "Several things I've learned after only 8 months of working for Bill Clinton. The left has a weakness. We have to find it. Not just in Washington, D.C., but here in Mississippi. During the 1960s and 1970s, my brother was here, preaching peace and love. Until he got tossed down the Capitol steps on his keister. Woke up to realize the new left ain't always right. Hey, what are you getting at? Hey, what are you getting at? Joe Strobe, senior vice president of the organization, said. Think of it as a federal state program where you are in the hunting business. I know of one guy who owns a convenience store franchise. And he and me, and he ain't even been able to break even in 5 years. And the part of it is, no thanks to the policy of the left and the Clinton economy. I've also seen the minister who has businesses in Mississippi, owns a pro-life clinic. However, there's Planned Parenthood lots of block over. Clinton keeps driving traffic now over to Planned Parenthood a couple of blocks away. Now, that should piss some people from Mississippi off, right? Intriguing, Boggs said. Now, I'm going to say we have to beat the left, but different game and different rules. Federal state programs. Senator from Louisiana is already adopting. We got a senator from Louisiana who's already Senator Wheeler from Louisiana is already adopting some of these against the ideas of the left. Fred Thompson, a senator from Tennessee, is doing the same thing. And you know that that's the way of the future. And Clinton and Gore are pissing and moaning all the way to the liberal bank. There were some other matters of grave concern that were discussed about whether or not small business should go into further debt or seek other investments from federal state programs. 5 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. Elizabeth wakes up in her son's house in El Paso to find both Tom and Diane awake. Tom was reading out of the New King James Bible, something which all is but never understood, because Jeremy raised her kids and grandkids to read the King James Bible. 7 a.m. Central. At breakfast, Elizabeth Marie tells Amy Kathleen that she heard from JR last night that Brent and Dave had become close of friends. And can't wait until... But Amy Kathleen says she don't very much like Dave. But for JR's sake, she'd give it another chance. Betsy tries to engage Christine with a topic about Matt Declan and the pro-life clinic. But Christine is distant towards her mother. And even more cool and frosty towards Amy Kathleen. 8:35 a.m. Eastern. Limousine drops off Christine and Amy Kathleen at a special hangar at the airport. Christine says a cool goodbye to her cousin as she gets ready to go on the plane. Is that your cousin? Garrison Keener asked. Yeah, it's Christine talking to some boy. She's beginning a revolt from the family, Amy Kathleen said. 9 a.m. Central. In the Center for Public Affairs Library, Jerry and Jennifer Bowers meet. Okay, look, I'm sorry. I've been blowing you off. But you must know what's going on. From now on, we are just reader and friends. That's it, Jennifer said. This says. Oh, careful, come on, don't be like that, Jared pled. Please don't make it any harder than it is. My mother wants me to study at the London School of Economics and transfer over to Rice. And this is the only way that can happen. With that, JR signals to the disability proctor that he is ready to take his public affairs exam. 9:30 a.m. Central. On this Free Enterprise Day, Jim delivers a speech on conservative policies with goodwill towards his public. The 43rd Annual Convention of the Enterprise Institute of Mississippi. 11 a.m. Eastern. At a cafe in downtown Washington, D.C., Christine is having lunch with a high school sophomore at Cornerstone Christian named Bo, who she met at the hangar that morning. He said his older sister was going to school with Amy Kathleen and was on the same field trip. And like Christine, he was sick and tired of circumstances being the way they were at home, with his mother ignoring him and family members being strict and pious. 1 p.m. Central, sitting in the VIP tables of the convention hall, Jim is listening to some speakers at the 43rd Annual Convention of EIM. Senator Trent Lott was giving a very powerful speech that day. 3 p.m. Meanwhile, back at JR's dorm, Karen calls him to discuss. That he's feeling down. He said that she was going to be visiting an aunt in Waco this weekend and would try to make it for the party in Gainesville Saturday. Oh, what a mixed bag it was here. For her to say that she still cares for me. And what was going on with Jennifer Bowers. But I was going to have one last meeting with Jennifer. 5 p.m. Eastern. On the phone in her room, Christine advises Bo that they were both going to skip class for one more day tomorrow and catch up on having some high school hijink fun. 5 p.m. Central. Additional dinner for Jim and the governor of Mississippi in the governor's mansion. Roast beef sandwiches, string beans, mashed potatoes, and peach cobbler, along with some Mogan David wine. Of course, they would have to be there tonight for the convention. 7 p.m. Central. The Wednesday night session of the Enterprise Institute of Mississippi was underway, and Governor Fortas was back on stage with First Lady Pat Fortas. 7:30 p.m. Central. At the Public Affairs Building, Jennifer and I were having a rough conversation. Jennifer, please don't. Jennifer walks from the classroom down the hall. JR follows her. This is never easy for me. Jennifer, come on now. I can't do this right now. Look, honey. Thank you for doing some reading for me. But can't we just please talk to me? Talk this out? They entered his study, Carol, at the Public Affairs Library. Please don't make it harder than it already is. Look, I got a call from my grandmother. It seems I've been granted a scholarship. They applied for the London School of Economics. I have to be there March 1st. I don't believe this. Look, honey, I'll do anything to make things up for you. Just please don't leave me. You're the only woman I ever loved. Please don't leave me. Hey, I don't have a choice, Jennifer said. I'm never good enough for you, Carol said, crying. Carol, I'm sorry. I would give anything to be able to stay with you. But my destiny lies elsewhere. Let her go, Sonny Rosen said. Look, you knew from the very beginning. Look, you know from the very beginning, I was going to be studying corporate public affairs, not government relations. I'm going to be at the London School of Economics and interning at Goldman Sachs in London. And I'm not coming back until September, when I start school at Rice University, Jennifer said. Come on, man, Sonny said. Let's get you to the clubhouse. CB and I want to study the Bible with you. 8:15 p.m. Central. I was studying the Bible in the Holy Spirit Club when my phone rings. It's Karen. She said that she was driving to Waco Thursday to go see her aunt, and that she wanted to see me Saturday. November 16th, 1994, 2:05 a.m. Central. Jim wakes up for what would be his last morning in Jackson, Mississippi. (2:30 a.m. Central). Jim is frustrated with what he saw in the Wall Street Journal. Evidently, Philip Latham and Bill Mayer, Clinton administration operatives in the Small Business Administration, were pretty upset by Jim's remarks yesterday, which had made themselves into the Society Page TV program yesterday evening. 4:08 a.m. Eastern. Meanwhile, back at the Richland, Elizabeth Marie walks into the home chapel to pray and read her Bible. She was figuring out how to tell Dave Smith that she was not coming to the party this weekend in Gainesville. 4:05 a.m. Central. Back in the mansion in Mississippi, Jim is relaxing after a quick swim for about 30 minutes. His companion, Marlene, was flying back to Baton Rouge later this morning. One of the morning service, Peter, had fetched them a copy of the Weekly Standard. Jim reads a feature article and is chagrined to learn that Bob Dole said he would work with Bill Clinton even if it means he gets elected to a second term. 4 a.m. MST. Elizabeth wakes up for what would be her last morning in the house of Tom and Diane. She would be leaving to go by helicopter at 6:30 a.m. Mountain and arrive at 8 a.m. Central. Diane is juicing grapefruit, part of Tom's diet regimen. When he had a heart attack in 1977, she put him on a strict diet to straighten things up. 6:10 a.m. Central. Cursing out the airport and the charter service, Jim is finally relieved when the plane taxis down the runway and departs from Jackson International Airport, bound for Dulles International Airport. 6:30 a.m. Central. Donuts were for breakfast at the Holy Spirit Club, and as I sat down next to Alice Portalis. Let her go, man. Just take a break, Alex said. Man, I was going to invite her to the party with me this weekend in Gainesville. I asked all my buddies to bring a date. Now, I ain't got one. Shake it off. You don't need a date to have a good time. My best friend Ken is bringing his girlfriend. Calvin is coming in from Longview. And he's bringing in his high school sweetheart. I got nobody. Alright? I know the boys in the club went with me. But what about that girl you were dating last year? She's a nice girl. Karen Crowder? I don't know. Karen Crowder? I guess so. My girl who's in one of her classes, one of her classmates, says that she's nice. And she wants to get back with you. Sounds good for a date this weekend. But I don't know about the rest of the time. We dated for about 5.5 months and broke up. But I don't know what the hell makes things any different. 8 a.m. Eastern. Jim is relieved to be back in Washington, D.C., and so he gets into his car to make the 45-minute drive back home. 8 a.m. Central. I was ushered into the office of Dr. Harmon. He shared concerns about internship with my father and recommended another government project. I said that I'd much rather take my chances with interning with my father, that I could think independent of him. 11 a.m. Central. Dean Satie, Philadelphia, bound to produce his paper, couldn't come to class. Date. So, Dr. Harmon gave a lesson about propaganda theory as it relates to polling and public affairs. One of my favorite parts of his perception is why Democrats lost power in the past election of 1994. 12 p.m. Eastern. With it being rainy and cold in Washington, D.C., Christine has a picnic lunch in the living room where she's been hanging out with Bo. They spent time in the house all morning talking about the things that they don't have. Of course, Bo is envious of her because of her extremely wealthy family. His family was worth only $20 million. 1 p.m. Eastern. At the Richland, Jim is having his dream team meeting. Dave Rosenberg mentioned an ISBA convention December 5th. 1:35 p.m. JR walks out of the Center for Public Affairs, flanked by Alan Lehrer and Dave Smith. To Dave Smith, a powerful presenter, JR said. Just remember, I graduate in May. So, the torch will pass through to you, JR, Brent and Alex. JR, Dave said. 2 p.m. Central. Public Affairs Library. I'm studying quantitative methods. When my phone rings, it's Aunt Donna. Your Uncle Carl is on the road for a sales call in Portales and won't be back until Friday. How would you like to come over for dinner tonight? Well, I could sure use a friend of the family. All right? Dinner's at 6. I'll have Darren pick you up at 4:30. 4 p.m. Eastern. Christine is called in her father's office. There, he reprimands her for skipping school and being rebellious, and says that punishment that on Saturdays during the Thanksgiving week would be KP, either working in the kitchen or feeding the animals. 4:45 p.m. Central. Aunt Donna greeted me at the door with a glass of Kool-Aid and some brownies as an appetizer. Your father is too busy chasing power to even recognize you, Donna said. Now, not necessarily. He went with me to vote in the elections. Anyway, we had a lunch that day because, well, I had to get a friend get elected, the editor of the campus newspaper. But Carl says he will never stop wanting you to be ruthless. And we know that that's not you. Aunt Donna, I need your help. Love of my life could be walking off from me pretty soon. Her mother wants her to go study in London I work at some big multinational corporation. Sounds like her mom and your dad have that in common. Think that she don't trust my daddy? She probably don't want me marrying her daughter because she thinks I'm just like my daddy. Just then, Jared's grandma wheels into the room. Oh no, son. You are not just like him. His father and I are locked to blame for some of this. The way we used to fight. And the way his father used to be so absent. Unfortunately, you have to know that it was your father's anger at your grandfather that made him feel like he had to be ruthless. Personally, professionally, it's sad. 6:30 p.m. Central. Dinner that night was extra special pizza, made from our Hendrick's way. The way his father used to make, the way Daddy used to make back in the 70s and 80s. 7 p.m. Eastern. The reception for Barbara Holland is underway, and everyone is there. Dinner says hamburgers, potato cakes, asparagus, and Betsy's signature brownies. 8 p.m. Eastern. Meanwhile, as the adults are involved in pomp and circumstance, Christine sneaks out of the house to go be with Bo. They kissed and made out in Bo's living room. Hope you enjoy listening to J.R. Hendrick Texan Night. If you like what you hear, please subscribe. Become a part of the adventure. This is James Hendrick Empire saying until next time, remember, get ready for the rest of the story. It's going to get more interesting from here.